What's going on, everybody? This is Nick Lawson from Squad Sports. We're really excited to be supporting the Free Agent Friday series. A lot of great talent out there. Without further ado, this is the next free agent you should be signing with your sports team.
We're back for another Free Agent Friday today. I've got Tre Whittaker with me. Thank you, Tre, for joining me.
Yep. Thank you for the opportunity.
So, Tre, walk us through your college experience, what degrees you got, and then on into your internships.
So I went to Northern Illinois University from 2013 to 2017, which I studied marketing at first, and I was trying to just do like a general overall study of marketing, but then I had this class with Dr. Maya Groza about sports marketing, and that kind of made me want to do sports because I already was an athlete and everything, and just learning all these little things that you wouldn't know that has to be put into effect with just working in sports and stuff. It just made me intrigued to want to work into it. So that's what led me to go to graduate school so I could learn more about the sport industry, which that's where I decided I wanted to work in sports sales.
Nice. So when you were in school, did you do any internships at that time?
So I did internships. I know in undergrad I did a few, but it was sports marketing, but at the same time it wasn't. I know one of them was just a nonprofit called Triple Threat, which was up in Aurora, Illinois, where I was helping kids do after school sports, but at the same time I was helping them kind of build a social media page and everything like that, because I know they were still kind of up and coming and they're still brand new.
So you said you were in the sports. Did you play sports in high school or as a kid?
Yeah, so I played basketball and I ran track and field.
Okay, nice. So are you? I see you're from Illinois. So is the Bears your NBA team or?
Yeah, the Bulls, but I know I was more a fan of just a lot of people I used to play against, and I just support them. So Chicago's a really big basketball market. So there's at least a guy on every team that's from Chicago. So I support him, and a lot of guys I played against. So Anthony Davis was another great example. There's a guy named Kendrick Nunn who's the starting point guard for Miami. He used to play him a little bit.
Okay.
And it's a good amount. It's actually really insane seeing all these guys now. We're grown men, but seeing them when we're kind of
kids, yeah. Seeing them grow, that's kind of cool.
Michael Jordan's kids, it was just a lot of people. It's oh, look at them now.
Yeah. Did you play in college at all?
I decided to try to walk on, but I didn't finish because I recognized I had more focuses and stuff at Northern.
Yeah.
But then because I had more of academic scholarship.
So what was it that really drove you to want to be in the sports? Was it just, you're a big sports fan and, really enjoy sports or anything in particular?
It was honestly the sports marketing class I had with Dr. Groza's, and it was just the fact that I didn't know. I thought I knew everything about sports just walking in, but then when I took that sports marketing class as an elective, I realized that there's a lot more to even just working in sports, or even just the industry that meets the eye, all the little things operations or even social media marketing. And it kind of lead me to, I'm okay, I want to learn a lot more about this. I mean, yeah, you could just be a fan, but it takes more than that. You got to make sure you're really passionate about the grind and everything, because a lot of times you're going to really start from the bottom.
Oh yeah. When you were in school, I saw you did some stuff, volunteer or game day stuff. What kind of stuff did you do with the hockey and football team at school?
So grad school, my professor, his name was Dr. Howell, which one of the best doctors I've ever worked with and everything at school. But he had us volunteer, no matter what field you were trying to do in the sports, anything with sports management program, they have you work. So I decided to volunteer doing the raffle tickets for the football season, every home game and everything for the whole year and a half I was in grad school, which it was fun because I got to meet a lot of distinguished alumni. I even got to tour more the stadium where I wasn't probably allowed to go as a regular student.
Right.
But it just let me know there's a lot more to meet the eye even with football. So seeing the most distinguished alumni. So I remember Michael Turner is a famous alum from our school, but I got to see him and everything. Got a raffle ticket, which was amazing.
Nice. That's a good taste to get you kind of into the sports business side too. There's a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes, that people don't see or even realize. Mm-hmm. So when you got out of school, I saw you were with the Iowa Cubs minor league baseball team. What kind of stuff did you do there?
So with that, I was doing ticket operations. So at first, I know, honestly, if I could just like piggyback, I know like my first taste of like just really working in like the pro sport industry was this ticket sales course I had in grad school with the doctor's name was Katie Rayford, but she introduced us and did this project with us where we got to sell tickets with the Chicago Bulls. Well, okay. In association with Chicago Bulls, so we got to sell these 2 ticket packages for the whole semester, and it was kind of like a contest. So it's like who could sell the most. So it gave me a real intro into doing sales and like, oh, like, okay, this is what you got like gonna need to do, like cold calling, learning. I had to create like sales types because it's literally like they just gave us like the ticket links like that. And it's like go.
Figure it out. Let's see what you can do.
Figure it out and figure out a strategy. And I loved it because I learned
cool.
I learned a lot about my strengths and weaknesses and everything. And that's what made me really want to work at ticket sales, is doing the whole process and everything. So like I ended up being one of the top 3 sellers in the course. But it was just fun, like learning the objections. I know like the biggest objection at the time was the Bulls was not really good.
Right.
So I had to turn it around and use like some strategies where I like used the other players whose tickets
right.
coming as
LeBron
well.
Doesn't suck. He's coming into town.
and that was then when he was on the Cavaliers. So like that was one of the games. And it was St. Patty's Day game. I'm like, LeBron's coming for St. Patty's Day. Or Blake Griffin was still on the Clippers. So I'm like, oh, you can, Lob City, everybody wants to see dunks. Yeah. I know the biggest thing we used was like all the themes for like a lot of sports industries. Well, not industries, but a lot of games. And it was like Game of Thrones night.
Yep.
Which a lot of people came there for just
it's
Game
crazy
of Thrones.
How big that is, huh?
This was when it was just at the height, and it was like, oh my goodness, it was amazing. Like everybody literally just came straight for Game of Thrones gear. And it was just a lot of things that made me want to learn more just about the whole ticket sales industry, which made me want to apply for the Iowa Cubs. So when I got that, I didn't do as much sales as I wanted, but I still got to learn the whole operations and industry with them, especially like being in Des Moines, Iowa, like where they're like the it team. So like I got to really see like how they
It's a cool little city too.
It is a really cool city. I loved living out there. I mean,
first I saw Iowa, I was like, I don't know, man. To me, Iowa sounds like country. And I visited there for about a week one time. It's a really nice area.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I feel like it was one of like I think when I was there, it was like one of the top 10 emerging cities at the time in like 2019. But it was great. And I think the biggest thing that I would never known is seeing like how they just not use the Principal Park as the name of the stadium, but like they wouldn't not just use it for the Iowa Cubs, but they use it for like the state of Iowa's high school baseball tournaments.
Oh yeah.
So it was interesting to do like operations for that for like 2 weeks and just seeing like everybody from all parts of Iowa driving to Des Moines for these games and seeing like full houses, because it was almost as packed as it was for like a regular like Iowa Cubs playoff game.
What ticketing system did you use while you were there?
So it was called tickets.com, but I know another name. I think the bigger name for it was ProVenue.
Okay, yeah, that's what we use here in Virginia.
Yep, and it was great. So I know Clayton Granquist was my supervisor and like my manager, and he really taught us how to use the systems. But it was really amazing. Like I know while I was doing that, we got to do like more some business to business like ticket sales. So there's this company called Principal where we're inside and we're selling the tickets inside while they're like in their like a regular work day, but just noticing like the partnerships they have with some of their teams and sponsorships that'll reach out. So they'll have us go to these other places, like even schools. So I know we went to, I never would imagine this, but we went to like a Cub Scout like event and we're selling tickets right there. I'm like, Cub Scouts, but it was
Cub
awesome.
Scouts are big, yeah.
Oh, Cub Scouts is big in Iowa, and I learned that. But then we also, I guess, in honor of them, the Cubs had a game where like they had like a Cub Scout specific themed jersey. So I'm like, this is creative because that introduced me to learn like how minor league baseball you can have a little bit more creativity than like the major leagues when you want to like
Yep.
have ideas of like doing things for home games. So I know one weekend we watch them feel like selling the arena for Field of Dreams. Just a lot of other themes, and
Oh
it's just
yeah.
really interesting just how we like try to stay engaged with just like the people of Des Moines and everything.
Yeah, you got to keep it where it's entertainment and you're tying in all those groups. I mean, that's the way to make it work. So you mentioned too, like just by doing the Bulls campaign and some of the other stuff, you realized what some of your strengths and weaknesses are. So what are your biggest strengths?
So my biggest strength is like it's like great communication, but I'm easily personable with like everybody. So like I could really like start conversation, even like continue it. So like kind of building rapport is probably one of my biggest strengths with just anybody and everything in regards, because I believe that everybody is relatable in some sort of fashion where it's like, okay, we might have the same color or like same favorite team, like there's something like our favorite movie is The Sandlot or something, like everybody has something.
You can find that one thing, yeah, at least
that one thing, and it'll just break the ice.
Yep. No, I think that's huge. I mean, if you could build rapport and build rapport quickly, it's a great asset in the sales world. How about on the flip side? What do you need to work on the most?
So I believe what I need to work on the most is I'm trying to think, what is the word to say? It would be not handling constructive criticism well, but it was more getting so like I didn't get a lot of criticism, and I was kind of looking for that. But I know in order for me to kind of do that, so I could kind of build more, like, kind of like thick skin and everything with sales, I would do other like volunteer activities outside of my jobs and working.
How
So
about,
like I would go like learn public speaking and like just work on like all the little skills that I would maybe not get to do every day.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. How about what did you do after the Iowa Cubs?
So I applied for Tickets for Less because I know at the time I wanted to stay kind of like in the Midwest. I mean, I know I was trying to stay between Des Moines or move elsewhere. But then I remember I went and visited a friend in Kansas City. And while I was just applying for jobs one day while I was just at his house, and I see Tickets for Less was looking for people. So I applied there and got the job. So I came down to Kansas City, and it was great because I felt like Tickets for Less had like this. I just had this feeling that like Tickets for Less is going to be like, it's big, and I could see myself really thriving in there. It just even helping them with just their ticket sales and everything for all their like events and stuff they were selling for, which it was amazing.
So what kind of stuff did you do with them? Was it inbound calls, or were you having to do a lot of cold calls, or were you just calling off lists?
It was a mix of inbound and outbound a little bit. It really depended on like the person. So I know at first I was doing just like more inbound calls and everything because people was always asking about events and just certain, or if we can maybe like look into maybe events that's going to be coming up in the future. So I know about 75% of like the inbound calls were for Kansas City Chiefs games because like Kansas City Chiefs was just a hot ticket in the city like all last season. But then like the other like 20% was University of Kansas Jayhawks basketball. So that's where like we did most of the sales at. But then I know like that 5%, it was more like miscellaneous. So it's like you don't know who or what they're gonna call. So just stay on your toes. And then when they do, like be very quick responsive. Like, okay, this event, and then look it up. And it was great because like it was like a challenge. I'm like, okay, who and what. So like minor league or hockey, like every sport, I'm like who and what.
So did you guys sell for teams across the country, or was it just stuff there in the Kansas City area?
So teams across the country. So we sold, like I remember I sold a Boston Celtics ticket once, and I thought that was amazing because I actually I was talking to a man to build rapport all the way from Boston. And it was cool. But then the fact to meet him related because like he said he could tell like the Illinois accent, so he was asking me about the Bulls and everything, just like having straight like barbershop basketball talking. It was fun.
Yeah,
because I know you never know like who's calling from where, so it kind of let me like learn like people's from different like states and regions, like kind of like their like the accents was amazing. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm learning a little bit from just like each area. So I know one time a person called from Canada about the Raptors tickets, and it's like we unfortunately didn't sell like Raptors tickets.
No, that's pretty cool. And I mean, that opens up so many opportunities too, like you said, throughout the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is a fun fact about you personally? Like, what do most people maybe not know?
So most people don't know I'm a basketball official on the side.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've been officiating basketball for 7 years now. Like I started when I was in undergrad and moved up. So I've been doing like high school games. So I felt like that's also it was like a really big networking tool where it's like, oh, you're the guy that ref my son.
Right.
Rejected the coach. Just little stuff like kind of like.
I'll tell you what, it is the one job that I was like, I couldn't do it, man. Those, especially the parents. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, you got to have some real thick skin and not a short fuse because these parents are brutal.
They are very brutal, but that was a blessing in disguise because I know it helped me like kind of like form a thick skin when it comes to like working in just the workforce and careers and everything. So like I learned how to, be loud, like communicate and everything. Cause like they got to hear the calls. So like, boop, like foul here, like push here, like 23, like 2 shots, like being loud, like every like little skills that I don't think people recognize that officials really have to do.
You got to be assertive. You got to take charge,
Yeah, exactly.
Got to be confident. So,
but like if I could convert them skills into the work, into like my job and just like my work and everything, which was great, especially like here in the Kansas City area. This is probably the most fastest growing I've seen just basketball leagues and everything. So it was amazing how I'll never forget this. Like there was one day I was reffing this basketball tournament out here and I just was still new. And a week later, this coach comes in to Tickets for Less to fight for some Kansas State tickets. I guess he's a Kansas City alum. And the kid recognized me right away because like as the official and everything. And then they just gave me comments like, oh my God, you're like the best young official I've ever seen in the area. Like, giving me all this credit. Nice. And it was just a surprise. I'm just like, okay, you also will never know who's watching.
Yeah, no, definitely. So what's kind of your next step? Like what kind of position are you looking for now?
So I'm looking for a position to be an account executive because that was always my goal to be an account executive and then work up to be like a ticket sales manager. But that's what every position I've took. It was just like finding ways to build my skills up so I can like do more in sports ticket sales.
And then are you open to relocating? Or are you looking for something just in the KC area?
I'm open to relocating. Like I understand I learned early that like in order to see, you're going to have to travel quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely helps, with, especially now with a lot of people out of work, there's a lot of people that are looking. So sometimes, the person that's more flexible, can come out. And then
Stay ready so you have to get ready.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the dream job?
The dream job would be to own a professional team.
Okay.
That would be the dream.
Okay. I like it. It's one of mine too. So
a
major league team.
I also had a dream to like work officiate in the NBA and everything as well, which I'm slowly building my way up with that as well right now. I know before like the pandemic happened, like I was invited to like a couple camps that would have been like help me on my way. So now I just have to wait and still be patient and just keep like building up.
Nice. Well, that's good. I mean, you got 2 potential career paths there, and I think they both can help each other out. So it's going to be fun to kind of watch your journey. So I'm glad that you were able to join me, and hopefully we can help get you some more exposure and get you back in there in the front office and see you on the court.
Oh, that would be great. I'm just waiting just for that day to be like, see someone on TV, be like, hey, I saw you. I'm like, yep, that's me.
Well, thanks again for coming on, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you so much.